Hello, and welcome to Books and Beyond. My name is Jimmy Bennett. I'm your host. Books and Beyond is about a show where we try to help people personify their aspirations. I myself am an author. I've written 3 books, and I am also the co-chairman of the Southeastern Connecticut chapter of the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association. We meet every third Monday at the Groton Regency at 6:30 every Monday of the month. It's a great organization. Anybody with anything to do with the written word, please stop by, check us out. I think you'll find a lot of good information and a lot of encouragement and just a good time. So today I have a very special guest. Her name is Carrie Boucher, and she is a shepherdess.
Yep.
Shepherdess.
Yeah, it's a real word.
And fiber artist from Iris Creek Farm. So Carrie, thank you very much for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So give me a little background about you. How you?
So growing up, I always loved animals. I was that little kid with the egg trying to save it. Became a veterinary technician later on and stayed in that field, actually still do it part-time.
Yeah.
So animals have always been my thing, and when my husband and I bought property, there was enough of it so that I felt like we really needed to do something with it. So we grow hay and we raise sheep and we have other little menagerie of animals there.
Nice.
But that's how I got into it, and the farm itself started in 2006 when I had just had a new little baby and wanted to do something and also raise him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it worked
and it's
out.
in Scotland, Connecticut.
Scotland, Connecticut.
Which is a beautiful area.
It's a beautiful, beautiful green hills. The man who founded the town named it after his country.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
I was always wondering how that name came about.
Yeah.
I laughed because I was actually talking to my mother and I said, "Oh, this girl's from Scotland, Connecticut, Scotland."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God, she
Yeah.
came all the way." And I said, "No, Mom.
I always
Scotland,
say this
Connecticut,
side of the pond.
Yeah. How big is your farm?
It's 100 acres.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take care of.
It is. It's a lot of work. There's just the 3 of us,
Yeah.
my husband and my son and myself. But we do it.
Yep.
We do it. It's really pretty and it's a nice way to live.
And so you raise sheep.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
So the sheep I raise, being a vet tech, I was always in the world of, spay, neuter, no animals on the planet that didn't have to be, and, try to find homes. So I didn't want to raise sheep just to have a whole bunch of them. I wanted to raise sheep that sort of needed raising, and we need these genetics from these Leicester Longwool sheep. That's the breed of sheep I raise.
Frank, why don't you put that picture up?
They are, there he is there, that's Dandy, and he's a perfect example of a Leicester Longwool. He has beautiful long curls, and the staple length of the fiber itself can go anywhere from 7 to 10 up to 12 inches in a year's time. So he's going to be shorn at the end of the month. So his curls are probably 8 or 9 inches right now, and they're pre-sold already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to a special fiber artist. And I find more and more fiber artists coming up to me that want their wool, the Leicester Longwool wool, for different projects they do because the curl is just so beautiful. But these guys in the Leicester Longwools, there's only about 1,000 of them right now. There's in North America, so they are on the critical list for the livestock breed conservancies.
That's incredible to me. You hear about animals in the wild going extinct or encroaching habitats and stuff like that, but you don't think about the domestic animals.
Yeah.
You would think that they'd be breeding around fine and.
Not so much though, because these guys came over. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson had them, and there's notes about them in their agricultural books that they kept.
Oh.
And then they pretty much went extinct when industrialized farming took over, and everybody wanted merinos and a finer wool because their wool is actually this big long staple right here. Is a stronger wool, like if you had a scale, merino is way over here.
Right.
As far as how fine it is the picture's probably still up.
Yeah.
And then the Leicester long wool is down the other end of the scale. Everybody wanted the finer wool, and they didn't want so much a breed that could do two different things. These guys are good for meat and fiber. They don't grow as big, and they don't grow as quick as the meat breeds do.
Right.
So that was the other side of that coin. A lot of, in George Washington's day, there were homesteaders who needed a dual purpose animal.
Right.
That goes for sheep, cattle, all of those things.
How often do you shear him?
So dandelion, I only shear once a year because
Okay.
I want those curls to be super long. Some of the girls, the ewes, I will shear twice a year
Okay.
or every 8 months or some kind of schedule like that.
Yep.
Because I like to have them cleaned up right before they give birth, and we're getting close to that time too
Yeah.
with lambs.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many? Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Right. How many lambs do you have a year?
So I run about 25 to 30 sheep, and then I might have 10 to 14 that will lamb out.
Oh, wow.
And they have singles, they have twins quite a bit. We had a set of triplets last year, our first
wow.
set. Yeah, so your numbers
So
increase
your
dramatically.
herd's going to keep growing.
yeah, in April it will.
Wow.
Yeah, but we sell a lot. I like to try to, I work with another breeder, and we try to get starter flocks going for people that are interested in the heritage breed and
Oh,
interested in the
Okay.
Leicester long wools. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yep.
That's very good. All right. Next picture, Frank.
That's a picture of dandelion up close. So that's actually on him at the moment I took that photo, and you can really see the curl definition. Some people call them Rastafarian sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just lovely. And, all your long wool breed sheeps kind of have this curl. But the Leicester is beautiful.
What's the wool feel like on the sheep? Is it rougher or?
So we use the word strong because the fiber is so strong. But with the Leicester long wool, there's also a luster and a silkiness to it that is really beautiful to the touch and the handle. I have a lot of hand spinners that love to spin it because it is like, once it's cleaned and you're spinning it, it's like butter to spin. It's just really smooth and silky.
I wanted to ask you about that. Let's go through that process a little bit. Okay, so you shear your sheep.
Yeah, I have a shearer come
Yep.
and shear the flock. Sometimes we'll do it in groups. Sometimes we'll do them all at once.
Right.
And then I'll sell some of it raw, but a lot of it I keep because I make these collars and I do my own fiber art and things too. But yeah, I'll wash it myself. Nothing fancy, just a big old 50-gallon drum
Yep.
out back, and dry it, and then I'll dye it. Some of it I'll dye, and I'll use, I think you folks can see in front there, the colored locks.
Yep.
And we'll make yarn.
That is just some beautiful colors.
Right, so that I dyed all of that in different batches myself out of my home. It was spun at Still River Mill in Eastford, Connecticut. They do a lovely job, and that way, folks who want to get a bunch of wool to do a sweater or something, it's much more uniform than my hand spinning is. So.
Is there like different thicknesses of your?
There definitely is.
I want to say this right. Is it skein?
Skein.
Skein?
Yeah.
That's what you call a bundle of wool. Or
Right.
A skein. Okay.
And it's the weight of the yarn that determines. So there's different weights. Lace weight is very, very thin, and then you go to DK and sport.
Do they just spin it more to make it lighter, or?
So it's just with a longer fiber, you can spin it thinner
Okay.
because you
Right.
don't have to put so many twists per inch
Right.
on the fiber.
Okay.
So it really is quite beautiful when it comes out.
I'm just asking because it's funny, but I told you this earlier, but my sister loves to knit. She's a real big knitter, and she's done so much. When she was a prenatal nurse, she used to knit for all her babies that she took care of and stuff.
That is so
hats or
kind.
booties or whatever. But I never realized, you know what I mean? You watch this, she gives you stuff, you might get a pair of gloves or a Christmas stocking or something. You go, oh, that's, you know what I mean? But the whole science behind or the art of making it, you know what I mean? It's,
A lot goes into it.
yeah,
A
right.
lot, yeah.
I was, that's what I'm saying. So you, all right, next picture, Frank?
Oh, so this yarn was also spun at Still River Mill, and I dyed it special for a customer. And it's a big, thick, core-spun yarn. Now, the beauty of Leicester Longwool fiber is its strength, of one of the beauties. And so this yarn is spun on a piece of jute, and the fiber is wrapped around that piece of jute. So it's so strong.
What's a jute?
Jute, the material, like a string.
Oh, okay, all
That
right.
just material of string. And then the fibers around it, it's called core spun because there's a core and then the fibers
Yep.
wrapped around it. And with the Leicester Longwool in there, boy, that's a nice strong. You can make rugs, you can make, a lot of people are doing weaving.
Yep.
This particular gal's doing vessels, like she's actually knitting it.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it runs the gamut. You can do anything with wool.
I just to mention this, because I'd never seen it before, but here at the station they had an art show, and there was a woman that had a couple of wool art pieces up.
It's beautiful.
It is,
And
and I was like, and you have to look close, to see the wool. To see the
Yeah.
fibers, the individual fibers. But I was pretty impressed.
was it like a painting almost?
Yeah,
like
it was
she
almost like a
painted?
painting, yeah. I
so
mean, it
she
was,
might have wet felted or needle felted. You can do, and that's how I make the collars too. It's a combination of wet felting and needle felting to get the locks, the curly
Felting?
locks. Felting, so like the boiled wool
Yep.
that you've seen and hats that are felted.
Right.
So wool has properties that allow it to really join together when you put it under change of temperature or agitation or both. We use
Right.
both when we do wet felting kind of techniques and use soap. You do all the things you don't want to do to your beautiful sweater when you wash it.
Right.
You want that hand done, and you don't agitate it, and you don't add too much soap, and you dry it flat. We do the
Yeah.
opposite to do felting.
Well, actually, let's. I wanted to point out that sweater too, because
Oh,
that is
yes.
beautiful.
This is my favorite sheep, Helen. So I used her. She was one of my very first. She's like my foundation breed sheep. And my sister did all the beautiful knitting. She's really an accomplished knitter. But I made the yarn. So I actually hand washed Helen's fleece, and I hand carded it with carders, and then hand spun all of
wow.
it. And it's about 3.5 pounds. So the Leicester Longwool, it's a really dense fiber. But this sweater, I think it's 12 years old now, and you can't see any pills on it. It likes to bloom or halo rather than pill up with the type of fiber it is. So there's
I hate to sound really ignorant, but I'm not familiar with the terms. What does pilling mean?
so pilling when your sweater gets those little balls
Oh,
on
okay,
it.
all right, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so you can't really see that
No.
on this because it doesn't really, the Leicester Longwool doesn't really do that. It more blooms, so you get this kind of halo, fuzzy, as it
Wow.
ages. But so the things that you make, that you create with Leicester Longwool, they're really heirloom pieces.
Yeah, they'll.
They wear like iron. It is not for up close to your skin like merino is.
Yeah.
But every wool is good, and every wool has a purpose. Every
Right.
sheep has a purpose.
Right.
There's no bad sheep. There's no bad wool. So, but the Leicester will just, for this kind of work, is really beautiful. It also gives you such great stitch definition, like you can see.
Yep.
with the cable work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, so it's a good choice for those kinds of projects.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but it's true. You do see a lot of wool products do seem to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have stuff that's, oh, I've had this sweater for 30 years, or,
Yeah.
that
And
kind of
there's a
thing.
big movement now, too, with sustainable wool,
Right.
because it starts from the soil and will end up back in the soil. And
Right.
without, especially when you're dyeing with good, healthy dyes and
Yep.
natural dyes. And
Is that what kind of dyes do you use?
so I use greener shades for those colors. I do sometimes use natural dyes. Like some of my wool is dyed with avocado. You use the pits and the skins, and it comes out pink. Believe it or not.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and that one you don't need a mordant. It is its own mordant, and mordant is what is going to fasten that dye to
Okay.
the protein of
Right.
the wool. So, but greener shades is a really safe dye, and it is on a global list of, it's for the global organic textiles.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's okayed by them.
All right.
So I like it, and you get fun colors.
Yeah. Do they come like primary colors or different shades?
They
or?
come different shades, and then you mix different ones together to get the different shades that then you kind of call your own.
Do certain, like if you had two sheep, you had Helen and Dandelion, and you sheared them both, and you dyed them both the same color, would it come out the same color?
Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it comes out a little.
Yeah, and sometimes, like when you're looking at the lock itself, so this is the end that's near the sheep, right? And it's been cut there. And this end has had, 10 or 12 months of weather on it.
Oh.
So this end will usually pick up dye and be darker because it's just more porous, because
Oh.
it's kind of been, it's had more weather on it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
So then you can, if I can spin from the lock, and a lot of people like to do that with these long breeds. It's a lot of fun. So you clean it and you literally just comb it and spin it
Yeah.
from that lock. And then you'll get this variation in your yarn that's really lovely too.
Wow.
Yeah. And then if I want a more uniform color, I'll card it together to blend it
Right.
completely. Yeah.
Right. Wow. How about another picture, Frank?
Yep.
The collar.
So yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm wearing right now, I think, or a different one that was just like it. Its sister collar. So these curls are from my ram Jupiter, and he's a natural colored Leicester Longwool. So they do come in a natural. It's called English Blue, and you can see on me and on that photo how beautiful it is. They're very dark when they're young, and as they age, it turns this silvery color. So.
Oh.
I do felting techniques, both wet and dry felting, to get the curls, the locks, to arrange them the way I want to. And then I add silk that I've also hand dyed to match whatever it was I was doing. Whatever
I don't want you to
project.
give away any trade secrets, but how do you attach it to the backing?
Yeah, so it's all hand sewn.
Oh.
I hand stitch it. Yeah.
You stitch every one of those strands onto it?
Well, I stitched the silk,
Yep.
and this part is felted. The curls are felted.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's really warm.
It's beautiful. It really is.
You probably won't need it on a day like today, but it is fun.
Do you ever make bigger things like serapes or capes? Or?
I do. I've made a couple of real big ones, and I've also made some smaller ones. It's kind of, I sort of let the wool pick it out, whatever arrangement I have going on the table. Sometimes I get a little out of control and it's over the top and huge and big.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you aim for over the top.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking that probably look really cool, the serape or a cape.
Yeah,
you know,
it looks
and,
nice over a
and
coat.
probably warm too.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it is. It's fun.
Got another picture there, Frank?
Yep, and there's a smaller one, and that one I've dyed. So I will usually dye the silk pieces and the locks in the same dye pot so that they match. But they do come out a little different, back to your question. Like the silk will pick up the dye a little bit different than the wool does. But they're just a lot of fun, and a lot of times almost didn't have the heart to straighten those lovely curls, because that's what drew me to the sheep to begin with.
Right, right.
So, yeah, so I like
Well,
to
there's
keep
still
the curl.
curl to it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, but I mean straighten it so like for yarn.
Yeah. Oh,
You know?
I see, yeah.
So I was trying to kind of keep that, because I do love that about them. They're good sheep too. They're just good sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, well, I'd like to ask you about that too. Like, all right, so, you think of sheep herds and, but so
Flock.
is that
Flock of
the
sheep.
flocks?
Yep.
I'm sorry, flock.
That's okay.
So what do you do? Like, how do you start the day with them? Do you get up in the morning? Do you feed them and let them out?
I
or
do. They don't stay in at all.
Oh, they don't.
No, they're wearing their house. They have all that wool on them, and they have a 3-sided shed that they can get in out of the rain or wind or elements if they choose. But they have their whole pasture. So in the summertime, and actually now I started them, they have about 5 acres, and then they generally at night come in under that running shed next to the barn. So they're
Okay.
pretty safe down in there, because we do have a high coyote population
Yeah, I was going
in
to
the
say,
area.
do you go and collect them at night, or do they just sort
I
of come
don't.
in
They
naturally?
they come in. They
Right.
want to be close to that barn, and that's where their hay and water and.
Is there I don't want to sound really ignorant, but is there like a patriarch of the flock? I mean, is
So
there a ram
we-
that like runs the show, or?
They. I have a donkey, Ruby, on the farm.
Okay.
And when we got Ruby, we have llamas too for guard. We use Ruby as a guard, and the llama will hold off the coyotes if there's only one or maybe 2. But if there's a pack of them,
Right.
the llama can't even keep them away. So we
Llamas?
will guard as well. Yeah, they do.
Wow, I would have thought they'd be more a victim than a
You should
guard.
come visit.
Yeah.
Because when people come visit, he comes right over. Soren is his name. He comes right over and puts his nose on your nose, and
Checks you out before.
yeah, because he's 7 feet tall.
Wow.
So he's
How'd
got
the-
a
where's it-
force to reckon with.
How'd the llama come into it?
So I needed something for guard, and I haven't used dogs. I mean, I know dogs. I've had dogs, but I really wanted something that was even easier than that, like
Right.
that eats the same food. And
Right.
the llama really bonds with the sheep, so he works out well. When the lambs are born, he can't wait to meet them.
No kidding.
He lets them crawl all over his back. So he is bonded with the sheep. So he does protect. I have him with my boys right now. And then down at the barn, I have Ruby, the donkey.
Oh,
So
okay.
she can kind of see the other horses and be with them, but she's with the sheep too. And nothing will come in with that donkey in there.
Wow.
Yeah, the coyotes will not come in.
I didn't realize that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize they were so.
Very protective of their space. They're
Yeah.
very territorial. She's not exactly bonded to the sheep. They probably can, but this particular donkey, not so much. She likes
Yeah.
the horses. She likes people,
Yep.
is what she likes. So I generally keep her close to the barn, and in the winter, the sheep are sort of close to the barn, so they're all together.
I guess I wouldn't have ever thought a llama would be,
Yeah,
like a guard. You know what I mean?
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those animals that had to protect themselves, that they're not really, they haven't evolved in big space. So they protect the space they have.
Yeah, that's cool. Throw up the next picture, Frank. This is also interesting to me. I never,
Life
never
on
knew
the
all
farm.
This is my favorite picture of them all. Look at you.
So that's my horse. His name is Teague McBean, the smutty buck. He's my best friend. And I'm wearing one of the larger pieces I made it took a whole fleece to make that big kind of cape wrap Viking wear.
Yeah.
Very Game of Thrones, very.
Yeah, I love it.
I do too, yeah. So I have Jupiter's fleece that's in the process of becoming one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes a while to put it all together, and I'm doing other things too. But and that's a natural color fleece, and yeah, that's at our farm.
Well, I just think it's incredible. Number one, you're doing a wonderful thing too, preserving these sheep.
Thank you.
It is. It's in this day and age, it's nice to see sustainable,
Farming.
Yeah, the farm, that's a lot of work for you, your husband, and your son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
So I want to thank you for taking the time to come today,
Thank you.
especially since it's such a beautiful day. It must be wonderful when the lambs are born in the spring. And,
It can be
you
fun.
Know what I mean? And,
Yep.
Your son, is your son into it? Does he?
He is. He's always there to help. My husband makes all the hay. And now that we do round bales, there's less and less that I can do with that.
Right.
I mean, I move them around myself to feed the animals,
Right.
but it's the big equipment that has to make those. So he does all of that, and I have to thank him for that. And then my son hops on the tractor as well to help him during that time, moving them.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's
so
great. It's nice, to see a family doing this, and you know what I mean.
It sure is.
Making your dreams come true. It's a nice thing. It's what I like to see. Now we only have a few minutes left, so I want you to tell me, where can we find your wool?
So it's available. You can reach out through Instagram or Facebook. I do have an email, iriscreekfarm@yahoo.com. And I think you got all the information there on the bottom, my phone number. I do have a website that is in the beginning stages of being launched,
Right.
iriscreekfarm.com. And I will be at a lot of the sheep and wool festivals.
Yeah, can you
Sure.
have a list?
Sure,
Right?
I have a
want you
list
to-
right
yeah.
here. So the next one coming up is April 25th. It's the Connecticut Sheep, Wool, and Fiber Festival. It's one of my very favorites because it's our hometown. It's going to be held, it's a new location for them this year, at the Northampton Fairgrounds. So hopefully we can see you there. I'll be at New Hampshire Sheep and Wool Festival. That's May 9th and 10th, Mother's Day weekend at the Deerfield Fairgrounds. And then New York State Sheep and Wool Festival, which of course is Rhinebeck, New York, Dutchess County. That one's October 17th and 18th. And then the Fiber Festival of New England, which is at the Big E Fairgrounds. That one is November 7th and 8th, and that's in the Mallory Building.
Oh, well, maybe I'll see you up at the
Yeah.
Big E. I'm going to go up this year myself. so.
Everyone should come at least once
Yeah.
to a Sheep and Wool Festival. It's
Well, I
fun.
want to thank you so much for coming on today. This
you.
was really interesting, and I think what you're doing is wonderful, and I think all your stuff is great. So I would urge everybody to go, especially if you're into knitting or anything like that. Go to the festivals, check it out, and get in touch with Keri. Wrap things up real quick. I just want to say I want one more plug for Kappa. Our organization helps writers, publishers, illustrators, anybody who has anything to do with the written word or books, magazines, whatever, to help you develop your skills, maybe do a little networking, find out. As I said, we do the third Monday of every month at the Groton Regency, right down the road here in Groton at 6:30. Everybody's welcome. It's open to the public. I myself also want to put out a big shout out to the Guard Theater for hosting Kappa during their Winter Cinema Series. A lot of authors went over there. It was nice, met a lot of nice people. The people at Guard were wonderful. And I wanted to tell you to look out in the Times magazine that comes in your mailbox this week. I have a piece coming out. That's a shameless plug on my part. Yeah, I have a piece coming out in that, so please check that out. Once again, Keri, thank you so much. I think this was just absolutely wonderful, and you know what? Maybe I'll come up and meet your llama one day.
Yeah,
I'd like to
he'd
see
like
that.
to meet you.
Yeah, I'd
You'd
like to see
he's
the
a bit,
operation.
he's a bit intimidating, that guy.
Well,
But
yeah,
bring him a treat.
yeah. Okay. What do llamas like for treats?
Carrots.
Okay, all right. I'll
He does
remember that.
anyway.
Anyways, thank you very much. This has been
Thank
Books
you.
and Beyond. Look, everybody, go out there, watch small, and personify your aspirations. Thank you.